these truths to be self-evident.
That all men are created equal.
As a member of Congress, I get to have a lot of really interesting people in the office. Experts on what they're talking about.
This is the podcast
For insights into the issues.
China, bioterrorism, Medicare for all. In-depth discussions.
Breaking it down into simple terms. We hold
these truths.
We hold these truths.
with Dan Crenshaw.
The Eagle has landed.
Welcome back, guys. This is sort of an emergency session because I want to bring light to a really important issue. And the issue is special immigrant visas for our interpreters that are still stuck in Afghanistan, Iraq, everywhere we've been. And I don't think, like, if you've been in the military, you understand this issue very well. But most people have not been in the military and don't know why this is important. And first, I'm going to tell you why it's really personal for me. When I was blown up in 2012, the reason I was blown up was because one of our interpreters was blown up in front of me. And he's the one who stepped on the IED. An IED that was maybe a little bit bigger than normal for what we were used to. A lot of times these things just kind of take off a leg or two. This one absolutely destroyed him. Every limb was gone right away. He survived for a little while longer. He later died in the hospital. His name was Raqman. And he was a patriot. I mean, he would tell us that he would, his dream was to maybe come back to the United States one day and go through BUDS and become a Navy SEAL. And he worked his ass off. He was running to a call because that's what these guys did. They have to, sometimes, SEALs or whoever's out there, we kind of change what missions we go on, but the interpreters have to be on everything. And they always have to be in the front because we always need them in every single aspect of the mission. So they just never get a break. And this guy in particular, and some are better than others. This guy in particular was really dedicated, and he was blown up right in front of me. And I was blinded by that blast. And I could hear him after that blast. People think that when you get blown up, it's like the movies and you're screaming, and that's not how it is. Nobody screams after they've been blown up. They groan. It's like a deep pain because you don't have the energy to scream. It's true pain. It's true pain manifested into sound. That's what it sounds like, and it's something you'll never forget. That's Raqman. That guy should be a U.S. citizen. All of the interpreters who were with us should be here in this country, and they should not be left behind because of a hasty pullout. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I have two heroes like that with us today, Abdul Sami and Matiullah Azizi. Thank you guys both for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure.
So I'm just going to call you Sammy and Matt, just for the sake of conversation. Tell us, Matt, let's start with you. You guys are some of the lucky ones. So you have gone through the SIV process. You're here. We're in my DC office right now. But let's just go through some history about just one at a time. Or maybe you guys can both kind of talk together. Like, don't feel like it's this is a conversation. But tell the audience where you guys came from, how you ended up here.
Okay. I started my journey as an interpreter translator in 2007, and back then it like the Special Immigrant Visa was for 50 people a year, and then I applied and I went through all this process and I got my approval, and I was waiting for my SIV since 2009. I got everything approved, and I was waiting for just to get the visa from 2009 until 2013. So
when did you start working as an interpreter?
November 2007.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Where at?
Back in Kabul.
Okay.
Back there was Camp Eggers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back in Kabul. And since then, I was doing a lot of like training, and we were going to a lot of missions and training the Afghan National Army, like all the stuff like that. And then finally, I got the visa, and I like the whole process was very long and very frustrating. And like every day since the U.S. troops pulled out, so our life was really in danger. And like every day was a nightmare, and like we were living in a really scary environment. Every time we were like, let's just see who's chasing you and who's coming after you. Like that was like a nightmare life for me.
Are you from Kabul?
I'm from Kabul.
So were you living on base, or were you living out in town? So you would come to work on base.
Yes.
So that's, you're more vulnerable because of that.
Yes, I was commuting to work every day, like going to work at 7 a.m. and come home at 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Did they figure out where you live?
Well, yeah, like in 2012, yes. Like even I received multiple calls from unknown numbers, and I gave it to the commander, like a Navy commander that I used to work for, and I told him like this number is threatened me and all that, and then he took it to his chain of command, and I think they found out who that was, but they did not tell me. They said, okay, we're going to take care of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Samuel, what about you? What's your history?
Thank you for the opportunity. I started working with the U.S. Armed Forces back in 2004. And it was like initially, I'm from Iraq, Afghanistan in the West. And I came in 2004 to start working with the U.S. Forces in Camp Akers in Kabul. But it was like we were based in Kabul, but a lot of times we had to go to the missions down in different provinces that we had to go. In 2007, I was able to get my visa to come to the United States. After I came here, after a year or so, I started working with Defense Language Institute, teaching language to the U.S. forces, especially commanding officers. And I was working with General Scott Miller, who is currently NATO commander in Afghanistan. And I saw that he became this special operation commander in Afghanistan back in 2010. And there was a need that they could use my services. So I felt that it was my responsibility that I had to go back with him. So I went back to Afghanistan with General Miller. I've done each single BFCs or battlefield circulation that they've done. I went with on each mission that he attended, and sometimes there were lots of good general officers like General Bolduc, and General Miller came back to U.S., but General Christopher Chaos replaced him. He kept me there for another year. Then I came back to U.S. because I was called back to come to work for General Miller in Special Operation Joint Task Force Bragg. Then I was redeployed. It was voluntarily going back to Afghanistan because I was feeling it is my responsibility. I had that power in me that I could contribute more to the U.S. To my fellow U.S. citizens. So I went back to Afghanistan with General Miller again from 2013 to 2014. Worked with different general officers. As I said, we have gone to different missions. I've seen a lot of people that they died in front of me. Yeah. And it was definitely when I came back for a long time, I had PTSD. What is like, we're trying to hide it. We do not want to be labeled as someone who has PTSD. While some people, they might think that it's only the people with the uniform, they might get PTSD. But while it comes to the US hired or US local linguist, they are going through the same pain that any other service member are going. So basically, each minute that we were staying, each minute we were feeling that anytime we can be beheaded, anytime we can be, Taliban can arrest us and kill us.
Were you in similar situation? Are you from Kabul also?
No, I'm from Herat, Afghanistan.
Oh, Herat, that's right. You said that. Was it similar situation where you're were you living on base there, or?
When I was local, when I was local linguist, no, I had to do the commute going back and forth to home. But even back in 2006 and 2007, I received several threatening calls, and even people, they thrown stones and rocks in my house. I had to replace a couple times. I had to move from one location to the other location to ensure that I'm kind of hiding, and I was alternating my way that normally my commute to work. So basically, I was trying to play hide and seek with the ones that they were after me. But I was one of the lucky ones that I was able to get the visa. For me, it took me almost almost a year and a half to get the visa.
How many people do you guys know I'm sure you're in contact with maybe other interpreters who never got a visa, or maybe it was too late by the time they did. Is that
a lot? There are so many linguists that I do remember that some they started from 2002-3. They still haven't received their visa. Jeez. They work there, and we fear that as soon as U.S. forces leave and withdraw from Afghanistan, they're going to be number one target. Then the other problem is that most of the time, like I was listening to radio other day, and I saw President Ghani said that please do not issue visas to Afghan linguists to come to the United States because the other people might fear that it's something big is going on. He was talking to President Biden, but what I think he doesn't see what's really going on. He doesn't feel the pain.
He can't protect you.
Yeah,
you know.
If I was there, I could have asked him that. Are you willing to leave your family members once U.S. leaves Afghanistan? You're living in the palace. There are tens of thousands of people that they are securing your family, but you cannot see the pain that the Afghan linguists and Afghan contractors are going through. You do have the possibility that you can come to U.S. or any other country you want because you used to live in U.S. Not those people, not those poor people. As soon as U.S. forces leave, they don't have any option. And as you know that linguists are the number one target for the Taliban and insurgents because they, as you know, that they know if they kill an interpreter, they are going to be disabling the entire team. So it's going to be difficult. Sometimes it was difficult to find linguists, and I've seen a lot of linguists that they were working next to me and they died. They were killed.
Killed in action or killed because they were targeted?
No, they were targeted.
Really?
Specifically targeted, yeah. I have, like one of my friends' cousin, he was working in Kandahar, then he was moved to Mazar, to Balkh province, and he was on a mission that he was targeted and he was killed. And as you know that like for a while, it was like an easy target. If you had civilian clothes, they would kill you first because they know that there's a linguist. Yeah. So that's why that they had to change and put their uniform to ensure that they can blend in and they do not know who is the linguist.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you guys think? Here's a more general question. I mean, what's in the future for Afghanistan now? If we're pulling out in September.
Unfortunately, what I see right now, I do not see any future right now. The problem is that as soon as we can see all the big problems that as soon as U.S. announced that they are going to withdraw from Afghanistan, you can see that Afghan government, they lost a lot of territories that they were under their control, and they are right now Taliban-controlled areas.
I've never been able to figure out why the Taliban are so much more ferocious of fighters than like the guys we're training. I just can't, we beat our heads against the wall constantly. It's like we have so many more. We have tens of thousands of Afghan National Army that we've trained, but they just, I don't know, there's a different it's almost like a different warrior culture. And I all these years, it's difficult to understand. So I too am pessimistic about their ability to hold territory.
Yeah, the problem is that what we can see right now, they do not have anybody to back them. Like even Afghan forces, they're right now in a dilemma. They do not know what to do. And
they can't fight dirty either.
Exactly.
Which is a big, I'll grant them that because I'll never forget when we're like, hey, we need you guys to go do this mission. And they're like, no. And then they're like, no, you come with us. And we're like, we're not going to be here forever. You guys go do it. And they're like, would you go there in these Humvees that we have? And then we're like, nope. Good point. So I get it. They don't have the backup, and again, the Taliban fight's dirty. I mean, they're laying the IED threat. Really, it's such a game changer for guerrilla warfare. It's
unfortunately right now, as you can see, this number of their threats or number of the attacks that they are doing is much increasing, and as we can look at the local media, we can see that day by day, like the local provinces, even the province centers and district centers, they are falling under Taliban. I was watching the local news from Afghanistan the other day, and I saw that they were pretty close to even capture Charikar, which is like literally 20 or 30 miles away from the capital, from Afghanistan capital, from Kabul. So as you can see, it's getting so serious that I do not think that anybody can hold. And from the other side, there is another problem that a lot of people that they are doing the movement. Yeah, that's good from one way that they are at least standing in front of Taliban. But as you can see, that there is a lot of local animosity that people, they do not like each other. And right now, most of them, they do have guns. For any reason, you can be killed because you're not liked by someone. And everybody pretty much has guns. And you're the victim right now.
It's so factionalized too, because I mean, from an American perspective, you're like, why wouldn't everybody has guns. So like, why wouldn't you rise up against the Taliban? Like they're oppressive, they're awful, they stone your women to death, they're terrible, but you don't see that, and it's complicated reasoning as to why. Do you want to?
Well, one thing about Afghanistan is is a religious country, so sometimes people believe that they're right, but most of the people think that they're wrong, and that's why right now most of the people, they're like, yeah, we will stand against them and we will fight them. Like if they're trying to come over and take over our area, we will stand and we will fight them. No matter what, we will help Afghan National Army and we will stand against them and fight them. And there in Afghanistan, there are a lot of religion people that they think that, oh yeah, they're right, and yeah, Americans should go away and this is our country and all that. But those are the people that they did not go to any school, and they do not the only place that they go is mosque, and then that's it. And most of those people that they went to mosque, they're not educated. They just follow one word from the elder of the village or whatever the elder of the village said. That they think that, oh, that this is very true and he's right. No matter what, if he tells that the sky is green, they all say, yeah, oh, the sky is green. Let's just follow his word. They don't have that mentality to just go and look outside and see that if the sky is really green or not.
So it becomes easy for Taliban to especially take over the rural areas.
Absolutely. Those are the areas that they just go after, and then they hey, we are right, and okay, because of the religious is more important for most part in Afghanistan.
And Matt has pointed a very, very important, important subject. The big problem, we have two problems in Afghanistan. One is literacy, that almost 90% or 95% of the people in the rural areas, they are uneducated. The second problem is their economy. They are young, they do not have a job, and the only education that they have is just going to the mosque, just reading off the book. That's all. They do not know the meaning of Holy Quran. They do not know what does it really mean, why they are reading, and they do not have. And that's why that. And from the other side, they see that there is an opportunity for them to make some money, and most of them, almost I can say probably more than 90% of those people that they are fighting on that alongside with the Taliban troops, they are the ones that they have been brainwashed. Because right now, all the mosque, we call it manbars. Manbar means where the priest is standing and talking. Those manbars have been used against democracy, and they are being used to. They have monetized that, and we have a common enemy, Pakistan. So Pakistan is not. Unfortunately, it turns to become a territory that. It is pretty clear everybody knows what's happening, why. They are training, and then they are sending those troops to Afghanistan. And they are saying that anybody who work for the U.S. government in any capacity, whether contractor, linguist, or anything, they are infidel. That's what they call. And that's why it's an easy target for the Taliban members. They do not know what's happening. They all know that if I kill this person, I'll go to Jannah. While that's completely wrong. Almost few years ago, one of the Taliban member was captured, and I saw it on local news. They asked him, can you say a statement of faith, which without that you cannot even become Muslim. He did not know that. And if you ask him what's the meaning, there is no way that they would know what's the meaning of a statement of faith. So what can you expect from somebody who does not even know how to recite this statement of faith? So the only thing that they are brainwashed, they get money, and their job is just like killing machine. They go just kill. And we as linguists and contractors, we are an easy target, and they would think that we are the key to Jannah. because they can kill. If they kill us, they are going directly to Jannah.
Yeah, on my threatening calls that I was receiving, they were keep calling me that I'm spying and I'm a spy, and also I'm infidel. They told me that you are converted now to an infidel, and we will get you. And I recorded their voice and I gave it to my the commander that I used to work for, and they took those whole audio record to his chain of command.
Are you guys still in touch with a lot of people, a lot of interpreters, contractors now? How are they feeling about it?
It's
been a while. You guys were there a while ago. So.
It's quite difficult to be connected right now. It's because we do not have much contact with them. But what I can see on the news, definitely those people need to be helped. Urgently they need help, and if for any reason if they stayed behind, I can assure you that almost 95% of those people they might lose their life. It is very important for those people to come.
You bring up something when we're talking about the future of Afghanistan. People don't realize that the cities, Kabul and Kandahar, are very much, I wouldn't call them like U.S. cities by any stretch, but as far as, developing countries go, they look like a normal city. Every time we were leaving through Kandahar, I remember there was a giant casino that we would pass on our left, and it's like, I don't think here in America people realize that degree of, and Kabul is much more developed as a city, so it's just totally different worlds. Like this modern city, and then you go into the rural areas, and it feels biblical. It feels like the biblical ages. It really is to that extreme. I don't know how else to describe it. So you can see how these toxic ideas from the Taliban can take root and be very effective. And which answers my questions, like why don't people rebel? And like that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's not that simple.
No, the problem, as Matt was pointing earlier, it's about the wrong beliefs of people. They think that they are on the right side, and they think that it's just everything that they are doing is like legally justified in Islam, while most of what they are doing, even according to Islam, is completely forbidden. Like killing of one innocent human being is equal to killing of all humanities, and it says in Holy Quran, saving of one innocent human being is equal to saving of all humanities. They do not know what really Holy Quran says. So that's a big problem, that they are completely uneducated. They just listen to what the mullahs and the people that they are like their leaders. Mm-hmm. They're just listening to them. That's all.
Here's a big question for you, because you're hanging out with generals a lot, so you're the one translating the grand strategy quite often. So you see it. Was this avoidable? Right? This situation where we've basically, and I'll never forget a brief we got from some experts on Afghanistan before the deployment in 2012, and they basically said, you can control the cities. You can that's defensible, but you can never. Nobody in history has ever controlled the rural areas of Afghanistan. That probably seems right. It seems right now. So was this always inevitable, this outcome?
Actually,
or was there a better thing? What could we have done better?
I think we could have done much better. The problem is that the big problem is, as I said, is literacy. If we were able to target it from day one, we were targeting the manbars, the mosque, and we tried to ensure that those people that they are in those manbars or mosque, they are the ones that they are not infected. I would say it's like COVID infection. I would say that like Taliban or terrorism or whatever. So if we were able to control those manbars, then there would have not been any problem. And as you know, that we can just say that Taliban's are if we just can call it, Taliban are like fishes, and if you take the people are like water. So if you take the water away from the fishes, they will die. So that's that important that we should have invested more in education. We should have invested more in our intelligence sources down in the ground to ensure that we should have, like US and Afghan government should have better control over all those mosques. If they had it, it definitely would have a much different outcome right now. And right now, we probably would have not seen this much problem. But right now, it's like we call it the genie is out of the bottle. It's difficult to control everything.
And that's hard in general. I mean, how does a U.S. military control the education system in a foreign country? I mean, that's. I think it's certainly a conversation that happened, right? It's the winning the hearts and minds and all that, but it's practically speaking extremely difficult, almost an exercise in futility. But you're right. I mean, that would have changed the game. I mean, I suppose there could have been more of an effort when we had hundreds of thousands of people there. We were doing everything else, like
spending billions of dollars.
Yeah, we were building schools, but it's like what's being taught in those schools. And look, we got tens of thousands of girls educated. In the end, is it enough? It's like you're trying to plug a dam with just your thumb, and it's difficult. I mean, it gets to the question of nation building. Can you really build a democracy in another country? And I think the answer is no. I mean, the American people certainly would answer no. I've always said, look, the answer is sometimes yes in a place, but not Afghanistan.
I think it's like from a point we can say it was a little like too much too fast, I would call it. So like U.S. government probably tried, like I'm not blaming U.S. government because it's like there's different culture. So I think we tried, like U.S. government tried to teach or bring democracy like very fast to the country. I think if they were working like a little bit more moderate, like if they had like a little bit different approach to that, I think that would have like different outcome. Afghanistan is a very strange country. It's like very, very difficult to control, as you said. But right now here we are. So
yeah, it's amazing that it's even one country. I mean, like, do you guys speak all the different language, Dari, Pashto? Were you guys translators for all of it?
Yeah, I'm Tajik. I speak Dari and I speak Pashto as well. Yeah.
So I mean, there's all these different factions, tribes, languages. I mean, Iraq is pretty factionalized, but at least they speak the same language for the most part. I guess the Kurds kind of have their own thing going, but Afghanistan's like a whole different monster. I mean, people don't even, like when you go into these rural areas, do they even identify as Afghan, like in a nationalistic sense at all? Or is it's tribe? It's 100% tribe. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. As you're right. Yeah, they do have like their like code of honors. Like Pashtun, like for example, Pashtuns, they have their code of honors. Like there are, I think, 7 codes of honors that if you stay in their village, then you can be safeguarded. So they have like code of honors. As you can see, it's like everything is like all tribal. So we should like. That was the big problem, that nothing has changed, and unfortunately, generation by generation, like same ideology was passed from one generation to the other generation, and it's kind of difficult to change that.
So let's just end. What's your message to the State Department? Like it's a mix. It's complicated on these SIV issues, but fundamentally, State Department just has to prioritize this, and we have to tell them how important it is. So, last word.
So, what I think is that the State Department will have 2 choices: either to risk the life of like that 20,000 people that they have supported U.S. forces, and then consequently it will have like a bad impact on the U.S. missions in future, or they have the options to somehow expedite the visa process for these people that they have been waiting for years, and right now their life is truly in danger. If they don't get their visa, they don't have any option to migrate to any other country, because you know that Iran will not let them go to migrate to Iran because they work for the U.S. government. And the other option that they have, Pakistan, as you know, that it's
probably more dangerous.
Like more dangerous to go to Pakistan. So they do not have any other option right now. So the only option is just help them to get their visa, or somehow bring them over, try to expedite the process for those people.
I would highly recommend to just give them their visas, just save their life, or either way, if they don't get their visas and once the U.S. troops pulled out, I'm pretty sure they're going to lose their life, and also not their life, probably life of their families as well. Because like for me, it was not only me, my brothers too. Like they were calling me and they were telling me like I am spying and my brothers are spying for the U.S. troops, because we were all working for U.S. troops, and they were like, yeah, we will come and get you like it wasn't only me. They said we will come and get you, and they know me and my brothers. We were working for the U.S. troops, so yeah, I would highly recommend that they should issue their visas before the U.S. Pull the troops, and it's really important for the Afghan interpreters to get out of there because they're not going to survive.
It would be an atrocity. It'd be an atrocity, and you know, for the policy side, what we're trying to do is establish at least because what they won't do is just grant the visas right off the bat. What we're hoping to do is establish a third location that we can send everybody, and then let the process play out there. And that's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we had you guys on. Look, if you're at home listening, ask your representatives to make a big stink about this. It's bipartisan. There's a bipartisan effort going on to deal with this. This administration is just not. They did not prioritize. They did not think ahead before announcing it, and so it's taken a lot of pressure from Congress to get them to move. And the State Department really needs to lead the way more so than they have been. So, thank you both for coming on. Appreciate it.
My
Thanks
pleasure.
for hosting us.